Here we go.
Marker. Welcome to Burger Movies. I'm Big Mike.
I'm Justin Ferguson.
And we are here once again to talk about film stuff. I'm just going to apologize for our Halloween episode. Don't know what happened there. My camera, my phone's a piece of shit. So hopefully you got the gist, at least you could hear us. We may have been blurry. You maybe thought, am I still drunk from Halloween? Not sure.
Probably.
You probably were. But maybe it helped.
Drugs in your candy.
Maybe it helped. It's like, this episode's super clear. But no, not this time. So, yeah, drugs and candy drugs. That's not good. Candy drugs are good.
What's that joke? Advil has a candy coating. It's delicious.
That's right. Yeah.
But on the bottle it says, "Do not take more than, do not take more than 2." Well, then do not put a candy coating on it, or else I cannot help myself.
That's right. Yeah. So, what we're here to talk about in film this week is Vio-lence. Not to be confused with violins. That's entirely different. So.
Yes.
Violins in movies. We should do an episode about that. Violins in movies.
Violins in music. And movies.
That'd be awesome. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, violence in movies. Like we were just talking about, for a second, about movies like Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan, and I'll use just a religious example, Passion of the Christ,
Yep.
showing violence in their movies. Is it necessary? Do we need to, and even violence in fiction movies, like Quentin Tarantino movies, like
Like Quentin Tarantino, he uses a form of stylized violence.
That's right. Yeah. So, I don't know. Is it necessary? What are your thoughts? I guess.
Well, it depends on the genre of movie you're making. I think violence has a place in it.
For sure.
Human beings are violent creatures, so violence is something we talk about.
That's right.
I don't think it's necessary for every movie, but
No.
it has its place.
Actually, I find since Halloween was just around the corner, with horror films, there are sometimes horror films that go way beyond, and sometimes it's like, okay, I get the gist of what you're doing. I don't need to necessarily see that. For example, I watched Hostel when it first came out, and there's a scene. Spoiler alert for you guys who haven't seen it. This girl has an eyeball hanging out of her face, and then the guy in it goes to cut it off, and it's really, and it's and I know it's there. Saw, and I enjoyed the Saw movies, but yeah, they got progressively
gorier and almost worse.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have movies like Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, where you don't see much of the violence, and you still get that scary factor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Another movie I watched where, here's one thing my personal tick about violence in movies is when I see violence towards animals.
Oh yeah, that fair enough. Yeah.
When I see violence towards animals, like Michelle and I, on Halloween we did this weekend we did a Halloween scary movie fest sort of thing, and one of the movies we watched was Drag Me to Hell.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And there's a scene where it's a Sam Raimi movie, so it's a Sam Raimi horror movie, so it's got a little bit of cartoony stuff in it too.
Of course, yeah.
But spoiler alert, her soul is going to be dragged to hell by the devil or whatever.
Right.
And she has to somehow get this creature to forgive her, or she needs to get the curse off of her, or offer a sacrifice.
Right, okay.
And her boyfriend bought her a new baby kitten.
Oh, okay.
And there's one scene where she's freaking out, and she takes a butcher knife and stabs this.
Oh,
it's
man.
For me...
Do you see it?
You just see, you see her from, the kitten's perspective. You see the knife come down, there's blood, and you kind of...
Oh, jeez. That's almost bad enough,
For me, that moment, the whole point of the movie is you're supposed to, sympathize with her. You're supposed to, hope she gets out of it, right?
That's right, yeah.
The moment that happened, I lost all interest in seeing her survive this.
Yeah,
I was just like, I don't care if you get dragged to hell now. You just lost all respect from me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you just killed a fucking kid, you piece of crap. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, I'll use the opposite version of that in, like, John Wick, for example. Have you seen John Wick?
I have seen John Wick.
Fuck, that movie rocks. I
It
love
is
it.
so amazing.
I can't wait to see the second one. Did you see the preview for it yet?
Yes, I have.
Looks good. Lawrence Fishburne's there, man. He's gonna offer him pills again. It's gonna be awesome. No, okay, but yeah, like, okay, spoiler alert. What? I mean, it's not really spoiler alert. You see it in the first John Wick trailer. Basically, they kill this expert assassin's dog. His puppy he got as the last gift from his dying girlfriend, or was it fiance or wife?
I think it's his wife.
Well, okay, his wife. Okay. So yeah, and I mean, you never see the puppy get killed or anything. You just see its body lying there or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was infuriated when that happened, man. Like, I mean, and I guess that's the point of what they're trying to point out. But I'm infuriated. I'm like, fuck. I'm glad he's gonna murder a bunch of people because he just killed a dog. If he would have killed like his wife, I would have been sympathetic.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have been as sympathetic. And that sounds really bad. Sorry, Candace. But no, it's like, you killed a puppy, man. What kind of asshole kills a puppy? And I've said that so many times. But yeah, like, I can understand what you're saying. Like, especially, like, do you think that was, like, needed in the movie?
It really, like, I mean, they telegraphed it so much, too. Like, when he said you need to sacrifice a small animal or something. And then she comes home and the kitten kind of greets her, and it's just like, oh, for God's sake. They're, like, telegraphing it. And then when it happened...
You're like, no. No, don't do it.
I was just like, don't do that. Don't. You're just going to ruin the fucking movie for me.
Yeah.
And that's a point where that was a bit of violence. That wasn't needed.
Yeah, no, that's pretty crazy. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And then, I hate to say that violence is needed, but I think that if you didn't have the extreme violence in movies like, for example, I'll just use Schindler's List as an example, with No Remembrance Day right around the corner here, that it needs to be shown. Like, you're like, do we really need to see this happen? Do we need to see this? I think you do.
Yeah.
Because people back in when World War II was happening and all that, they went through horrible times. You think, like, sure, we have our problems. We have family problems, we have work problems, we have health problems. But to be honest, I mean, we probably would trade it all if we had to even live a second of that life that they had
to be in a concentration camp. That would have been, and the life they lived, like, just, it would have been terrible. It's like the atrocity of the last century.
Well, exactly, and I mean, people still sometimes, I mean, it's ridiculous, but people want to admit like it didn't happen.
Yeah, well, like, I honestly think they are so, like, you even hear people say this, they have such a hard time accepting that humans are capable of that level of barbarity.
Yeah.
That they just, no, it can't have happened. It couldn't have happened.
No, it couldn't have. No way. No one could be that terrible.
Yeah. But people are, unfortunately.
Yeah,
like
like, I mean, there's so many moments in that film and other films, like, apparently one rumor that I've heard is that when they played Saving Private Ryan for a bunch of, like, war veterans, I guess, that a lot of them had to leave the theater.
Well, for some of them, they probably still were suffering cases of PTSD.
Oh, yeah, and they said that it was so realistic that they had to leave. Like, they said, this is too real.
It's too upsetting. And for some instances, like, when we're trying to make a historical perspective, like with Schindler's List, where we're trying to... The violence is part of the story. It needs to be there. Like, because, them... how just inhumane they were, needs to be shown to understand the sacrifice and the work, say, Mr. Schindler did to get these people out of there, and to get them away from this.
Yeah, and, like, I mean, and again, I always, like, say, like, every year I say something like thank you to him for saving them. But, I mean, he wasn't a saint either.
No,
obviously not.
He was part of the Nazi Party. Of
course, yeah. It's not like he was like, I'm a... Because, I mean, if he would have went out all savior right in the beginning, they would have shot him right away.
It wasn't just Jews in the concentration camps. It was blacks, it was gays, it was enemies of the state. POWs, things like that.
Yeah, no, it was a terrible time. Like, I mean, and I'm just trying not to sound like an ass or whatever. I'm glad that we personally never got to go through that. I'm very glad that our ancestors and whoever else fought or survived, whatever. Like, just putting that out there. But I think when it comes to something like that, violence is needed in that regard. And I mean, okay, so say if I'll go and say the stuff about Passion of Christ, if you are a believer in God and Jesus and all that. If this true, and that's one thing I actually did like that they did do, because I mean, you watch all those other, Jesus films and stuff. Okay, he gets a whip here, whip there, and he's relatively still fine.
Yeah.
And he's carrying the cross or whatever, and he gets nailed up there. Sure, that part's kind of violent, but it's never to the extent that Mel did.
Well, the thing is in with that, the story is that he was basically beaten to death.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for him, he looked at the weapons of the time and the torture of the time, and
Jesus, literally.
and it was like, and I'm not a pious person myself, but Pope John Paul II said it is as it was. That was his review of the movie.
Yeah, well, there you go. Why did they put that on the poster? Because they should have put that on the poster. It is what it was, or whatever.
Yeah, it is as it was.
It is as it was. Yep. I mean, yeah, because they were getting a lot of flack for that. Like, it's like, why would you show this and whatever? I mean, that's what it was.
Well, that's what it was, and at Mel, Mel, it wasn't the violence that got Mel. I think ultimately got Mel in shit with that movie. It was his depiction of how the Jews turned their back on Jesus.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I suppose.
Or they sold him out or whatever.
Yeah.
Another movie talking about historical violence. And we're talking about styles of violence, going back to Quentin Tarantino.
Right.
One movie he did where he used two different kinds of violence.
Okay.
Was Django Unchained.
Django Unchained. I still have not seen that. I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
I'm so behind on all my movies here.
There are some scenes in that movie where he's trying to make a political statement. He's trying to talk about how barbaric people were to these people, these slaves, during this time.
Yeah.
And it's like Schindler's List, harsh, real violence.
Well, I mean, I guess, and I mean, this is stuff I've read on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, so I mean, this could be taken with a grain of salt. Either way, it's interesting if it's true or not. Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio, I guess, at one point during the movie said he had so much problems with the racial slurs he was using, right? Yeah. And I guess Samuel L. Jackson just kind of looks at him and says, it's just another day for us, motherfucker. Of course he adds motherfucker to it.
Because it's Sam Jackson. every third word is motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised. With rated R Marvel movies now, I'm sure he's going to squeeze a couple motherfuckers into an Avenger movie.
I think if we get one in there, everybody's just going to be like, yes! He finally said it! Like, he's got I don't know, he's got to sucker punch Loki or something.
Yeah.
Like, somehow he can do that or whatever. For so-called killing, sort of revenge for killing Coulson, even though he's not alive. I won't get into that. But yeah, he just punches him and he's like, something, I don't know, it's like, he says something like, some god, motherfucker, or something like that. I was like, yes! I would love to see that. But anyway.
Yeah. And then there are scenes of his cartoony violence.
Right, of course, yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, you take a handgun and shoot and somebody goes flying 10 feet.
Well, like Sin City kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like Sin City is like cartoons, but I love every minute of Sin City. The first one, anyway.
Yeah. And then there are scenes where you see a slave being whipped, or you see, spoiler, if you...
It's fine, go ahead, it's fine.
One slave tries to run away, and they stick the dogs on him, and these dogs start to rip this slave in pieces alive.
Jeez, eh?
And you hear him screaming, and you see the violence and everything, and it's like... It was like... we went to see it in the theaters, and I was like, oh my god, it was... It's a shocking moment, and he uses these two kinds of violence. He'll use these kind of violence that was done to the slaves, right. But then when Django sort of turns it turns into Quentin Tarantino cartoony violence.
Gotcha. It's like revenge. He somehow gains superhuman ability.
Yeah, basically.
I've become a cartoon character.
Yeah.
I enjoy his movies, so I mean, I can't say anything. But no, it's I see what you're like. I mean, Kill Bill, for example. Mm-hmm. Very cartoony, but I love every minute of it. Right? Yeah. I guess that can be another thing. So obviously, since I haven't seen that movie, so like you say, in those moments where it's like sort of realistic, he's trying to depict something, he portrays it more realistic.
Yeah.
But when it comes to I'm a badass motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just over the top, kind of like I'm gonna kill you, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So I guess he justifies both. So that's actually a really interesting take on that. Actually,
using the violence to help tell the story.
Exactly, yeah. When, I guess you could see it if you wanted to get really deep into it. You could go like the perspective of this guy's pissed off, so everything that he does, or she does in some cases, looks so badass and revenge worthy. Like if you feel, and they feel good about doing it. That maybe in their mind that's how it is, but in real life it's like in their real life it's probably like how it was with the dogs, for example. Yeah. But in their mind it's like super cartoony because if they see this badass moment in their head.
You want like every punch to like send the guy flying or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's okay, I lost what I was going to say. Go ahead.
No, I like you were saying before. It's just I'm glad that he's actually a really good example of that. Like, again, all Sin City was all cartoony, right? Which I loved. Like, I loved every minute of it. And I like that he sees, like Quentin sees that in film where he can do that, where he can go, okay, this fucking really happened. Yeah. So I'm going to show it how it really happened. I'm not going to embellish or cartoonalize it, right? Yeah. But I will show you them kicking major ass, and you'll love it, right? Yeah. So yeah. No.
And he definitely knows how to make fun of the Ku Klux Klan too.
Oh, right on. Good. I'm gonna have to watch that show. I've been wanting to watch it. I don't know why I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. One guy, especially considering his heritage, is not a guy you would consider to play a member of the Ku Klux Klan, but he's brilliant. Jonah Hill.
Is he in that movie?
He is in that movie.
Get out!
And he plays a guy. So fucking.
Shit.
I'm gonna spoil it. So funny.
Go ahead, yeah.
And him, Don Johnson, and someone else are like rallying a group of people to like with white sheets to go like witch trial mob try to thing, and it's one of the funniest fucking scenes in the movie.
Okay.
They get the sheets and they cut the eye hole, like the eye holes are cut out, and they're like, these things suck shit, I can't fucking see out of them. It's like, who the fuck did this? My wife spent all night saying...
Right on. I guess, that's another way of making some violent group, like the Ku Klux Klan, showing them as idiots, right? Yeah. Like just kind of like putting that extra little jab in there, which is kind of funny to see. So that's kind of cool. Like, no, I should watch that film. Like, I've been wanting to see it. I just don't.
I think for me, aside from his first two films, which are like his classics of Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction,
watch Pulp Fiction again.
You can kind of way like this all of his movies. There are people who love Kill Bill, there are people who love Inglourious Bastards, there are people who love like Foxy Brown, there are people
Foxy Brown.
I really like for him trying to be, he's always had a hint of comedy and everything. His historical movies I really like he did with the Nazis with Inglourious Bastards, and then with slavery with Django Unchained, where he's trying to tackle history. Right. I think those are my favorites.
Those are his
after the first two.
Right. Yeah, because those first two were kind of just like.
Well, they kind of they defined him.
Yeah, they defined him and stuff. No, that's cool that he's doing that. And isn't he doing something else too soon that is historical or something? I thought I heard something about that. Yeah. I'll kind of look that up.
I don't know what his next movie is. He said he wants to stop at 10 movies. He's at 8 now, I think.
Like stop
making movies.
Well, I guess quit while you're ahead. I mean, it would suck, but at the same time, you don't want to end up getting in a situation where you're just.
Well, he's been at it for 30 years, and he's made 8 films.
Yeah.
He's like spaced them apart, taking his time with every movie.
And aren't they all sort of connected?
He admits they are all in one connected universe.
So, do you think that in his last Tent movie, we're going to see something like big like that, like something major that'll like tie like?
Well, there was one movie he wanted to make that he admitted that I don't know whether the script didn't work or whatever, but John Travolta's character in Pulp Fiction,
right,
and Michael Madsen's character in Reservoir Dogs,
right, I heard about that,
are brothers.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do a movie called The Vega Brothers.
That's right, I forgot about that. Yeah. Is it even on here? I don't know. Vega Brothers, probably not, because he didn't make it. So, but I forgot he did some of the episodes from Dusk Till Dawn series too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I heard about this.
Yeah.
Kill Bill Volume 3.
He wanted to wait also a bit for the bride's daughter to reach a certain age. So.
Right. God, I gotta watch that movie again too. Yeah, there's so his first official movie was I guess he did a short called Lovebirds in Bondage, whatever that is. My Best Friend's Birthday, and yeah, of course, Reservoir Dogs. Then he wrote True Romance, which I don't even know what the hell that is. True Romance. Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, and Dennis Hopper. Interesting. He wrote it, but doesn't direct it, I don't think.
No.
But anyway, yeah, so... No, I'm looking forward to how he might... Do you think he'll tie it up with Vega Brothers? Or maybe just because I think there's too many years now.
I think there's too many years, and then, I mean... You also look, Michael Madsen, Michael Madsen can still play the character.
Yeah.
But John Travolta is so plastic surgeryed up and weird looking.
Sad,
and he used to be such a good looking dude, but now he looks like a poster boy for middle-aged Hollywood.
Yeah, it's quite sad. That's kind of like with, what was I going to say? Oh, what they did with, although I enjoy the film, is Red Dragon, like with Anthony Hopkins, like he plays Hannibal Lecter, and that movie's supposed to take place before Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
If you watch and they filmed Red Dragon way after Hannibal, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're watching Red Dragon, and Will goes to visit Hannibal. Well, Hannibal's in the first scene of the movie,
Yeah.
and he's old, right? And then it's like you watch that movie, and then
You try to watch it in chronological order.
yeah, it's messed up. It's like he lost a lot of weight and he took some youth juice or something. Yeah? Like he looks fit and he looks scarier and stuff. It's kind of funny. I wonder why they chose to do it. They should have CG'd Arnold him up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what happened in the new Terminator movie. But yeah, I guess another form of violence we can talk about too is horror. Like we talked about horror movie violence.
Yeah.
And but say for example, why do you know in horror movies we watch them for, we watch slasher films for a reason. We know it's a slasher film.
Yeah.
It's not like we're like, oh, we don't expect some slashing to
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
Like we love it. We're like, oh, look at him, he got freaking totally maimed. Or like when Jason and Jason X freaking picks up those two girls. And that's the funniest scene in the whole damn movie. He picks up those girls and he just freaking slams them against the tree. And I know he did that in the previous movie too, didn't he? But anyway,
It was way funnier in that one.
it was way funnier. It was like, come on. It shows him going like this, and I thought, oh, he's gonna strangle him or something. Then the next, like, wham! And I mean, we laugh at that, right? But I mean, realistically, if that happened in real life, we'd be fucking terrified. But I mean, what is it? And I mean, like shows like The Walking Dead and what other shows are there? Well, I'll use The Following just for an example because it's one of those other shows I watched before it was on there, where there's violence in every episode, like. Violence, or when we watch something about a serial killer, or we listen to about or read about serial killers and stuff, it fascinates a lot of us. Mm-hmm. What is it? Is it just because it's so bizarre, so out there, especially when it comes to the true sense of the word, like a serial killer?
I would also think it has something to do with the fact that for for me, I could never kill anybody.
Yeah.
Extreme situations maybe, but
you could feel like it sometimes.
Yeah,
but
I could feel like it. But like in just cold blood, I couldn't just kill someone randomly in cold blood.
Like if someone was trying to kill your kids, or whatever,
yeah, if someone was like going after my kids or whatever. But if it was just some random person in cold blood, like some people do, I could never do that.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't get into that space. You can't. Mm-hmm. You can't actually imagine yourself doing those things.
Right.
So maybe if you listen to or see the sort of the genesis of someone doing that, or
right.
what it take, like when you see stories about serial killers and what made their head tick, or why did they go to that level of violence,
right.
and
why?
Why? There is that confusion. Like you want to understand because it's so alien.
Yeah, that's right. I guess you could say that because, like, when you watch or hear about like killers like John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer, like eating people or just the torture of things. Like I guess it gives them the reason why they always say it's because, like to quote Red Dragon,
yeah.
They ask why is he doing this, and he says because it makes him feel like God. Would you want that? If you felt like that, would you want that taken away? And I guess that's where that comes from. But yeah, as a society, I guess it's just we would never, most of us would never do something like that. So I guess, like you say, it's just like you say, it's alien. It's weird. You know what I mean?
You're trying to understand that's sort of the motivations and the reasons for those behaviors and why it would, like, sometimes, like you said, like, sometimes you think about, like, oh, I fucking hate that guy, I wish I could kill him, but you would never actually do it.
No.
And then what actually made this guy, we all have those thoughts from time to time, but what actually made him go that distance?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Like, and that's because a lot of people are asking me who haven't watched The Walking Dead as well. They're asking because I'm just starting to watch it. So, yeah, I know. Fucking crucify me or whatever for not starting to watch. I mean, you haven't watched it either. So
no, I haven't
too. But anyway, not to throw you under the bus. But anyway, like
I am under the bus.
You're under there before I am. No, when people try to describe the show to me, or when I try to describe the show to people, rather, it's not about just zombies.
Yeah.
It's about how much of an asshole species the human race is, and what we will do to survive. And that's the underlying thought of the show. It's just like with Breaking Bad. A lot of people ask, what's Breaking Bad about? And they can say it's about a meth dealer or whatever. It's about a guy who tries to do better for himself, but ends up just wanting, or for his family, I should say, but ends up wanting to do things for himself. He becomes selfish and greedy. And that's the heart of those stories, right? And that's what I think that's what they're all, those ones we watch about killers are about and stuff, is, we don't understand.
Yeah, and we don't understand, and for a lot of them, like we hear, like you said, like with Red Dragon, it's, for some of them, it's about, maybe they feel so neutered, so impotent, so whatever, that they need that empowerment, they need that strength, and we just sort of, maybe we're attracted to that too. We want to understand that strength, maybe.
Right.
But is it really strength? I don't know.
No. It's like a lot of people, again, it's another TV show, Dexter. A lot of people sympathize with Dexter, right? They're like, oh yeah, you should kill this person, but then some are like, well, they should get the death penalty and they should be tried and whatever. But yeah, like, I hear you, should we be, like, as a species, I guess just violence intrigues us.
Yeah, we are, I was watching this one thing, it's really funny, talking about our closest genetic relative to the chimpanzees.
Right.
They are inherently violent.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
they resolve...
I've seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Well, not just that,
Yeah.
but they resolve conflict the same way we do. It usually results in violence.
Right.
It usually turns into some sort of fight or what have you.
Right.
But there's a third member in that group, is a newer species called bonobos. They're a smaller version of chimp. They're slightly different.
Right, I've heard of them. But
Yeah.
Okay.
They resolve disputes very differently.
Okay.
With sex.
Right on.
So they have a conflict, they just start boning each other.
I mean, that happens in some movies, right? They're like fighting with each other.
Yeah,
They
porn
just start-
movies.
Yeah. Really? What's this porn you mentioned? Yeah, no, I was just watching it again. Just because I'm watching it right now, is The Walking Dead. They're fighting. They're like, this is stupid, and then all of a sudden they're just screwing. All of a sudden, this is before you know it, they're done, right? It's like, yeah, hey, I'm for it.
Yeah, I am too.
No, it's like, so if you're mad at someone, just fuck them. I mean, that might not be a good idea. Maybe you should first of all, have consent.
Yes.
That's very important.
We have laws about those things.
Exactly. But maybe talk it over with them first and make sure it's like, I'm mad. You want to have sex? I won't kill you, but let's have sex. They'll be like, okay. But yeah. And everybody's like, what happened to this show? No, I mean, that's interesting. I wonder how they came up with that. They just thought it was just a really...
I don't know. Like,
they're smart.
They are smart monkeys.
They're smarter than us. So
a lot
yeah.
less violence, a lot less needless death.
Yeah, just instead of...
a lot more herpes.
Yeah, a lot more herpes. Yeah, I'd be like, man, violence is on the down low, but our herpes is like that. Like our frickin' STDs, or what do they call STIs now?
Yeah.
They're out of here. They're off the chart, man. So, I guess today's feature is STIs, I guess.
I don't know. Violence in movies to STIs.
Sex versus violence, I guess. In this, we vote for sex. So, but anyway, I don't know. Violence is necessary in certain forms of film, and I mean, we love enjoying, the big hero John McClane type guys shooting bad guys, and there's places for everything, I guess, as long as real people in real life and animals, of course,
Of course.
are not hurt. So,
Yes.
Maybe just start.
No animals were hurt in the making of this podcast.
Exactly. That is very true. Not in this one. All right. Until next time. I'm Big Mike.
I'm Justin Fergie Ferguson.
And grab your popcorn, folks. We're not going to kill any animals.
Good God, no.
No kittens.
No
Or puppies, goddammit.
Kittens or puppies? Oh.
Puppy kittens. Wait, puppy kittens?
Puppy kitten. Cat dog.
Cat dog. I missed that show. All right, anyway, until next time, guys.